Now I want to switch. I want to concentrate our conversation around AI now, because AI is huge right now and definitely has huge societal consequences that we just don't even know. Like, what does regulation look like at this current moment? Should we start regulating AI and handcuff it? And if we do, who's going to be regulating it? What's your take, gentlemen?
It needs to pay national insurance contributions. This is it's quite interesting. So this is linked to the robotics argument, and Andy smiled at that one. So, I'll give an example. I go into my local Tesco's, and this annoys me, by the way. And there's one till which has a human being, and there's a whole bunch of other tills where they are expecting me to not only pay for the goods, but scan them and pay for it myself manually and put it into a bag. And that offends me. It offends me on a whole number of things. And it offends me because and I don't use it. I try to use the people because, of course, trying to keep people in work. And you may say I'm not hiding to nothing. But my view is these digital checkout stations need to be paying national insurance contributions tax in the same way that a human does. Because you've got this whole problem of what do we do with everybody when everything's taken over? This is an old one. Andy must have heard this argument 1,000 times. What do humans do when there's nothing else to do?
Do you want me to go right in at the end and answer that one, or should we work our ways? Well, what does it mean that there's nothing to do? It kind of means that there's no problems left where people would value a change in the state of the universe. You employ somebody because in some way you want the universe to be different to how it is right now. Wouldn't it be great if there was a person here selling tickets? Wouldn't it be great if this building was a different color? Well, I'll hire a person, I'll change the state of the universe. Now, if we ever get to a situation where there is nobody on Earth that has any change to the state of the universe that they would be willing to exchange resources for, then fucking brilliant. That we've won. That's the finish line. The point, it seems unlikely it'll ever happen, but really, if there are no jobs for humans, we've won. What could be better than that?
Wait, hold on. I need to push back. Like, let's break it down in what you mean. Because if there's no jobs for humans, and like your equation is no jobs for humans times X equals we won. So how is that possible? Because don't humans imagine in building society?
Imagine a situation in which there are no jobs left for humans, and then you're imagining problems that come with that. Now, you could set up an organization to deal with those problems. So now there are jobs for humans again. Because we've set up an organization, there's at least jobs for those people to solve that problem. If there's two problems, there's now space for two organizations to do that. What I'm saying is, if you imagine it as a situation where we're sort of imprisoned by the AI, which is kind of ludicrous for reasons I can go into, then you can come up with a grim scenario for all this. But in fact, imagine what it would mean for it to be a situation where there is nothing that you could possibly think of to improve using human talents and skills and labor. That would be fantastic. I don't know, it might... is this... maybe I'm so used to this thought that it comes really easy to me. Do I need to explain this a couple of different ways? Or
You do, because like if there's no jobs for humans, like I'm like, at what purpose does a human serve? Right? Like what?
Up to them.
Well, one more time.
There's very...
Andy, are you saying we could all play golf and go to the beach whenever we want?
Vacation. Yeah, exactly. We'll be back.
Well, yeah, if that's what you want to do. I mean, there's not a lot of people get to the end of their life, lay on their deathbed and say, I wish I'd worked more hours. You actually, people imagine you get all this meaning from things that you have to do to sustain yourself. You don't. You get it from other people. You get it from, enlightening activities you spend your time on. And occasionally, it's good to feel useful as well. But this does not have to mean doing robots' jobs for them so that you have something to keep yourself busy all day.
Slightly different.
Here's the part where I'm having a problem with, right? Here, well, let me just go first. The part that I'm having a problem with is that, like, the economics model, like, because right now, Jobs for Human provides resources so you can, like, get a big house if you want, right? And if there's no Jobs for Humans, then who's going to provide you can have resources. Like, how would the AI, if the AI runs the entire world or whatever, how would the AI allocate resources to each particular person? And where would the creativity be? Like, would there be, like, there would be no incentive model for, let's say, because the AI is just giving everyone the same food. So there's no incentive model for, like, a chef to improve on his creation. So everyone's eating the same bland food. And the AI is logically saying, okay, you're a family of, like, 5, so you have this amount of square foot to live in. And there's no,
I think you're imagining communism, not like oppose scarcity.
It is like that. It's communism. That's what I'm saying.
No, it isn't, because nobody's. If there's a problem, if you don't like the food, if you don't like the house, then there's a job for a person to do. We've not reached the finish line yet. By definition.
I think I wouldn't really worry about kind of how do I get resources to the others, etc. It's rather worry, how do I get resources to myself? How can I sustain my computational power, my storage level? And I think at that point, the matrix thesis could really kick in, because our brain is probably a quantum computer, with a reliable neural network. It could hopefully attach to our brains, kind of utilize that, and maybe we're looking at totally different problems for the future. And I mean, who knows? This dystopian, crazy ideas of AI getting out of control. I mean, if we reach a level where AI replicates itself better again than a human does and trains itself better than a human does, I think that's probably going to be the first kind of point in time where we'll realize, okay, shit's hitting the turbo fan right now, right? Yeah, but I think it's a great idea thinking about AI as kind of like a god. There's this meme, right? Where kind of AI took over control of everything, and then a sunstorm killed it, and people went back on praying to the sun and stuff. And who knows, maybe that's the endless iteration of humanity. I mean, I don't know, but yeah.
I'm gonna. If you get a chance, read Greg Bear and the Culture series, because it goes on about all of society is run by machines, by the AIs, and each AI has a different personality, very much like people. And it gives you a view of what it's like to be a citizen in that society. And actually, it's quite reassuring. You get to do lots of fun, and you can work if you wish, or not work if you don't want to, and you have a certain allocation of, as you say, mass energy units that you can use to do stuff. Yeah, so you got flexibility. But so I am teasing Andy. He's having to drag heavily now on his vape to recover. Sorry, Johnny, what's your feeling on this from America?
How'd you
from
get
America?
So I'm going to go back to the original question about regulation of AI, and is it shouldn't we sort of scenario. I don't think it matters, to be honest, because ultimately, if it's decided that there should be all this regulation, it's already escaped all of that. It can be done on private servers. I mean, it'll just continue regardless. So having honest conversation about what's actually occurring in the development of AI in a public sphere is probably a smart thing, and being able to see what's gone on, because regardless of whether it's regulated or not, it will continue. You can't put the genie back in the bottle. That's just not going to happen. So being able to understand how it's developing is probably more important. And then 2, I think what do we do when everything is automated and provided for us and all that sort of stuff? What does it mean to be human? I think that's what the conversation really is at that point. And that's a deep conversation, because I have a tendency to believe that we're here for a purpose, and through the work that we choose to do, through the creations that we make on our own, we develop ourselves. and through the environments that we live and all of the adversity we overcome, we become the best version of ourselves. And there's like epigenetics in play here, right? So genetic expression is a part of that based on our inputs, based on the food, based on the challenges. We're all vastly different humans because of all the decisions that we've made along the way. So I think there's some really interesting consequence if we don't have as much adversity as what we see in this world today.
Yeah. I think we enter into a new paradigm where we have more problems to figure out. But it definitely, like, I don't know, it's just because if we have a AI that is very advanced and it can pretty much do all our jobs, then like logically it makes sense to just let the AI do all our jobs. But then there's all these humans, like, and at first, yeah, the first week or so, everyone's going to be on vacation. But then what, right? Like, I don't think we're just going to be living in this, like, utopia forever. Like, there's going to be some sort of issue that, like, arises that none of us can even imagine in that particular scenario.
So have you seen latest studies on, like, IQ trends across the globe? I don't know.
I missed
my question.
IQ studies on trends across the globe.
Yeah, 100%. So I would just tell you guys to take a look, right? See if we're actually becoming more intelligent in this world that we live, where we have convenience everywhere, or if the opposite is true, and where you think that actually is coming from, based on we are living at the highest standard we've ever lived at in the course of history. Yet we're becoming somewhat less intelligent and able to problem solve and critical think, so to speak. So yeah, it's interesting. So if we continue to automate things and make our lives more comfortable and easy, where does that lead us? And then you start to understand when they call us useless eaters, or maybe what they're talking about.